What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are setting up for next project here. This is a client of ours, like a 4-year-long client. Actually started this property stump grinding, and did a bunch of stumps out here. And now we're gonna do a lot of cleanup. It's just time. They like to keep a really nice, beautiful estate look. Got a few dead trees out here. There's lots of trees back in the day where this was just chock full of trees when they purchased this property. Actually, my mentor owned the property next door, and that's how I ended up meeting these guys. And they've just done an awesome, incredible job. So we're gonna get the lift off. We're gonna get the Kubota off. We've got our paddleboarding buddy Nick. He's gonna be doing some climbing work for us. It'll be the first day that we'll do work with him, which is cool. So he'll be doing some rope work up there by the telephone wires and around the house and around the barn. All the things I don't want to smash. And then Kurt's gonna get to on the lift. We're gonna be getting all this dead, we got widowmakers everywhere, just all sorts of dead, all sorts of rot. We're gonna try to get some better sunlight in here, try to get the grass going on. They just got the pavers done. I mean, this property's come out. This property was a resto, and they've done an incredible job. So we're gonna do the final touches on the exterior here. All right, so we're cracking into day 2 out here. Got some down trees that were dead, had lots of rot inside of these guys. You can kind of tell when a tree enters its last life cycle. And you can see all this rot here, and you can see like the core there not looking good. So anyway, we're opening up all this space. Got a hanger up there to take care of, but we're getting a lot more light in here. It's 9:10 and a lot of light. Noon and then the afternoon, because the sun sets that away, getting way more light. We've got a few more dead trees, or trees that are entering the end of their life cycle here. You can see this one just got nailed with the storm. Once it starts to flush out like that, that's a hormone release from the tree, and it's basically just trying to survive. And this tree could go longer, like, you don't know. It's just, this is a sign of it's reaching the end of its life cycle. That could be 20 years from now, that could be maybe up to 50 years from now, but more likely than not, it's probably in this decade. This one's been pretty rough. We're going to remove this so that the health of this tree, that tree, these trees will do better. You can see how this one's just inside of that. So if we do get rid of this tree, the ones that are healthy and have not entered that phase of their life cycle have a better chance of survival. Also, the home is going to be able to do a nicer yard here. So they've sodded this with their new landscaping, but they'll be able to do a nicer situation here, because this is basically just sand that we have in here. The way to grow anything in this soil, these leaves that just get mulched by the lawn guys, cool, because it's compost, but oak trees are highly acidic. So what we have acidic soil here. So if you put down lime, which is alkaline, if you put down lime, which is heavier and alkaline, you can counterbalance it. So you have high acidity, low alkaline, you get in the middle, and you get a neutral pH. If you get a neutral pH plus sunlight, you'll have grass. And so very optimistic that later on this year there'll be a nice yard, nice grass over here, lots of space. Also, there won't be dangerous limbs because we're just cleaning up all this. I mean, these are beautiful trees, majestic trees, 100-year-old trees. But there was lots of storm hangers. Was not an area where they could let the kids just kind of run. One of those things comes down, not good. So make it a lot better. Just look how gorgeous that tree came out. I mean, just absolutely majestic. And ones that were close by the pavers weren't doing well, taking that out. These ones hopefully will not affect the pavers for too, hopefully they'll get lots of years without issues, because it's just a beautiful look. That's day 2 of a 5-day project here. I'm gonna get on the tractor and start getting some of this detail work done so we can just check areas off. That's how I like to work. So today we'll check this area off. This area will be done. Check that area off. That area will be done. This area, that area will be done. Tomorrow, 2 of my contract climbers will be here. They're gonna work some limbs around the house, which would be cool to film them on their rope work. And then we've got some over the garage area. I'm gonna be working that. And that'll be day 3. We should be on track for day 5. Have the grapple truck start pulling loads out of here Thursday morning on day 4. Should make it. We'll see how it goes. The two men, two machine setup for this service offering is pretty sweet. It doesn't hurt to have a third guy just to kind of gather those smaller piles, just kind of make small piles. But when we have a third guy out, we'll typically put him on Bob, so that way he's like on and off Bob. But one guy, one machine is definitely my favorite way to go. And then we add a chipper or dump truck if you want to consider those machines. We're typically running like 1.5 machines per guy. That's been the perfect ratio for us. And I know other crews, like for example, the lawn crew was here this morning. They were running 3 guys per machine. I mean, I guess they, like 2 guys had weed whackers and blowers, so, you know, but 1 guy was on the mower, which is like kind of doing the bulk of the work out here. And it's kind of like a 1-to-3 ratio, maybe an inverse ratio. What we have 1.5 machines per guy, and they probably have 1.5 guys per machine. And complete opposite, like opposite. But if you look at what's on that truck, like they still have the same, like they have the same trucks we have. They actually have newer ones. Trailer wise, they have enclosed trailers, but they have more expensive trailers than we have. Machine wise, if they had 2 mowers in there, they have what this thing costs, you know. So I guess we are up 1 machine on them, so like we're probably like a $50,000 more in machine investment, but that's it. Like, there's nothing else that's really comparing, like making the difference. And the difference in revenue is more than 2x. So, you know, my favorite setup, like men to machine ratio, big deal, like huge deal. I just think it's the way to go. Also, you can compensate your guys better. You know, you can literally start guys at a $65,000 a year salary, and if they're on a job every single day, they can, you know, like we incentivize our dudes to get a revenue share. Like they get 30% of the revenue divided by the crew. Is how we share it out. So, like on days like today, like these are $300 days for labor, and they're good days for the company. So we're just on 2K days, like 2 guys, 2 machines, 2K. So my original like 1K a day deal, we pretty much solidified that. Like that's kind of our minimum now. Like we pretty much always get that, and it works out well because we're able to provide a unique offering that I don't think is like the production. I don't think is matched anywhere else, because it's like the combination of having lean costs. Like we don't have a lot of costs. So there's a tree company that just passed us 4 trucks. 6 guys, bobcat, stump grinder, bunch of other. I can't imagine that they're doing as much production as I know, because we're putting out waste piles and having grapple trucks pulled out of here. But like they're not doing the production we're doing at 6 guys and 2 guys. And they do have a machine there, but it's just like they have all that extra stuff going on there. Yeah, so Kurt dropping some big old limbs there, and yeah, nice. It's looking good. All right, this section here is done. Kurt coming down in the lift. We've got a rope up there. We've topped the tree, done our wedge cut, and our next move here is we're going to attach this to the tractor, just because it's going to be easier to do that. It's going to be safer to do it like that. Want to make sure it falls our way. I feel relatively confident it's going to fall exactly the way it should. But we'll just assist it, since we have to. Taking the extra 5 minutes isn't going to really cost us anything. So we'll do that. You can tell that this tree entered its last phase here of life, because it's like starting to shoot out from the middle. It's basically just trying to survive anywhere it can. And so we're going to take this one out so that the others, which are doing much better, will have a better chance of survival or thriving, really. And then we'll have a lot more light here. We'll be able to get some grass here, because it's kind of a dusty area. It kind of blows right onto the front porch. So that will help prevent that problem. I'm gonna go ahead and jump in the Kubota and we'll pull this guy down. All right, so we'll put the tractor in 4-wheel drive, that green light right there, and go gear 1 high, so we'll be in the highest first gear. Got it strapped up to the bucket here. You go ahead and get it tense. This goes without saying, but you want to make sure that your fall pattern, that your machine is outside of your fall pattern. So like it's not gonna, causing it to come down on the cab. I'm gonna check the rear or whatever you've got going on back there and make sure that you're going in an area that you want to be going in, so you're not gonna run in anything. And then typically you get a little bit of tension on the line, not too much, because if you break the line, you've got a real problem. It can whiplash back. And then what I'll do is I'll just wait here patiently for him to get mostly through that cut. I'll be able to see some. He'll give me a head nod, which basically says like on his end, it looks real good. Like he's like 10, 15 seconds away from being done with the cut. And on my end, I'll be in gear. I'll be ready to go just in case. This is a 4,000 pound line, I believe. So more than enough pull power here, but you got to be mindful. You've got a 5,000 pound machine and probably a 3,000 pound tree. And so you've got some forces there. So we're gonna go ahead and just bring her on down, kind of coming. You can tell that the tree wants to come, but now it's a little tense. So I'm gonna like relieve off the weight just a little bit. So we're gentle on that line. We definitely don't want to snap the line. Let it make a little bit more, and we'll pull it on back. And there it is. We'll pull it, and bam. There we go. Big, ugly, odd tree. And that'll give us a much better presentation on this property here and reduce the amount of storm potential liability on this guy. All right, secondary tree here. Going 2 out of 3 today. So we've got a few branches there taken off. You can see right there, just so that it falls and doesn't like roll into that nice new fence or landscape hedge there. So same thing, want to make sure you're out of the drop zone. Looks like we are. Check out the back, make sure that you're going in an area that you like. I'm going to reposition just a little bit. And I'm going to give them the signal once I am repositioned. And we'll get to it. So we're going to go this way. We'll make sure that we don't, you can go right there. Perfect. Right. Nice. What I mean by that, and there we go, time to go, boom. All right, and there it is. Now this can be sketchy. This little part right here can be definitely sketchy because you've got a lot of weight still up there. You got these arcs and things like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start from the outside. We're gonna pull it away with the tractor, and then I'm gonna go around and roll it over. But this is the toughest thing too, like storms, like when these type of trees come down in a storm, you just got a lot of weight hanging over, and so you can get catch points. And like things can just, as you're cutting it up, it can just change on you. And I've seen a lot of mistakes happen. I've seen a lot of trees roll, and it can be definitely dangerous. So if you do that, keep that in mind. But we're just gonna strategically chop this tree apart, roll it over, and then go from there. See Kurt grabbing the smaller saw, because this is gonna be like the carving part. So we're both gonna jump on here, just do some carving, and then we'll be ready to move this guy out of the way. I just rolled the tree over, and so that's a good starting point there. Much safer, make those cuts like that. Finish collecting the rest of this stuff over here. Got Tyler up there, he's doing his thing. Nick is somewhere else in there. They're working around that tree. I'm up here in the Nifty, just trimming up a few of these guys and doing some prep. We're gonna get some dead hangers that are hanging out in there, and then doing some prep on getting this tree ready to come down. So I'm gonna go ahead and just remove some weight off of it so it doesn't get hung up in any of our other trees. And we'll get rid of this old sickly one, make some space for the other ones to thrive. And then this section, the front of the property, will be done. We'll be working the garage this afternoon and then working it back from there. We had, I was late getting here this morning, delayed rather, and one of the guys that is a new to us climber asked to use the lift, so I was like, yeah, go ahead. We ran it over the pavers. It happened to have a small leak in it. We check the machines weekly for leaks and kind of wash them, but when it's on a job like this, it's kind of like part of the pre-morning check. Obviously that didn't happen, and they ran over the pavers, which as a general rule is never run a machine on pavers, like ever, because you just never know. Just never know. And there was plenty of space to have not done that. Thankfully, it's lifting really well, and the property owner is like totally fine with it. He's like, ah, it's no big deal. Got a few drips on there, but in general, never run any hydraulic equipment over pavers if you can help it. We've got those boards there sitting next to that tree, next to the lift. Those are for if you have to go over pavers, lay out the boards. But you know, my bad on the error. I did not give proper instructions to the guys. I might just print it out and put it on the lift, like right there by the operating panel. Not great. Taking out this big dead eucalyptus. Unfortunately, when they get storm damage, they like crack in the core of the tree. About a year later, they die. This one has no signs of life anywhere, so it got chicken somewhere up in the core pretty good. We're gonna drop it this way towards the tractor. And just cut a big notch in it down there at the base. It's actually real ugly. Probably, actually would like to go like 3-4 feet up and cut a notch. Might do that. But then it's like a tough working platform, so we'll figure out which way we want to go with it and rock from there. Doing some rake cleanup. I love the landscape rake implement because it just makes it just so clean. I mean, we had a massive pile here yesterday. This is the 6th load out, so that is 300 yards. I'm able to bunch it up. We've got a little bit of stuff over here, so we're gonna go ahead and just drop down the rake, like so. There she goes. Drag it on out. It just does such a nice final clean. Big fan. We're gonna pile it up over here by the grapple, and then I'm gonna move them down to that pile. So this is a play area. We've got a lot of waste to pick up here, but we elevated it so that like, there's light. There's still shade here, but there's a lot of light. Won't be bugs. You can see the kids on the playground, which previously was not really a thing. They're kind of locked. Also unlikely to get smashed down falling limb. And so we just what we call canopy elevations. Came out real good. Walk this property here in a moment, get it all cleaned up. This is the trunk of the eucalyptus. The trunk has a beautiful scent to it, like the eucalyptus soap. We're just gonna push this pile up for him and get him out of here. The rest of everything else just came out beautiful. Just absolutely gorgeous. Love how this property came out. All right, that's final load. That's 8 50-yard trucks. So we did 400 yards out here, 5 days. Because OnSiteTrav freaking smashes. I don't think anyone's keeping up with that production number. I mean, it might be like 1 or 2 of you in the comments. So, yo, my crew could beat you, but like each dude per machine. I mean, divided by 2 guys, 2 machines, 2 climbers for 2 days. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think so. But beautiful. Came out absolutely gorgeous. Looking like old Florida out here. Lifted all the canopies. All this grass is gonna creep in there now. Got the old dead leaves out of there. It's just, man, I'm really happy with how this property came out. Want that estate look. We've been doing stump grinding on this one. I think we started in 2020. We did the first stumps, and then there was a hurricane in 22. We did some more stumps after that, and then a year and a half, and there was a lot of dead hangers. And I told the owner, I was like, you know, it's really time to go and get this done. And he's like, follow up with me next quarter. I'll probably be ready to do it. And it clicked. It came together. We had the week open to do it. and he accepted the offer. And this is the best thing we sell. I mean, this really is the best service that we sell. Just the production level on a 5-acre or multiple acre property. It's what you need when you have a property like this. And these trees will be good for, this is the right time of year as well. So there's, they're gonna stay neat looking, but these trees will be good for 3 years. You could probably go 5 years without them like really, really overgrowing. I would suggest, 2 or 3 years to do a nice cleanup. If you did it like a little bit earlier, you'd be able to go longer with it, because trees grow exponentially like anything else, like 7% a year compounded. So if they were to trim this up in 2 years, allow the new growth to happen, see what happens, and then keep the shape of do like a 3 or 4 day trim. In 2 years, they'd probably be able to go 5 beyond that. So, but they are looking really, really good. Easily go 3, could go 5. But now they're caught, because when this home was purchased, I mean, they've done a tremendous amount of work on this property. It just looks amazing compared to what it was 4 years ago. And the trees are kind of like the final touch on the yard out here, where it looks freaky. The last original crew member from this beginning just left last day. Just wrote him a check, hugged. And he's the remaining guy out of 8 that we started with when I revamped the tree company, 2022. So bittersweet. Definitely time for him to move on. Definitely time for us to revamp. But best project we completed by far. I mean, we just got better and better every single gig, and it's just very surreal to have how everything worked out. I met this guy. I actually heard about this guy on a hunting trip from one of my buddies, and then the scamdemic happens. People move down here. Then his business that he was going to do didn't work out. Anyway, one way or another, we're on a boat one day, and I'm like, hey man, if you ever want to do trees. Then like a week later, hurricane hits. About that same weekend, I roll my stump grinder, so I'm like out, like I don't have a stump grinder around because like it needs an engine, all sorts of stuff, and it just kind of worked out. And then we ended up just being like, we want to rock a tree division, and so we built up a tree division. Now we're at the spot where we're just about, did the first $250,000 annual. Like we're on that track. Like we're actually probably beyond that track. Figured out some sauce. So, when I say sauce, like we figured out a few hacks. We've got some sales funnel things. We've got a customer list. We've got a list. We've got all those things, all the right equipment, the right processes, sold this, bought this, did all that stuff. Figured out our avatar, which is our customer, like who our target market is. Figured out the best pricing model for it. Figured out how to work with subcontractors. I mean, figured all that stuff out. And now we're at a spot where it's like time next level. But it is like the drive back will be a little empty is the wrong word, but it's lonely. Lonely would be the word. As an entrepreneur, there's a lot of that. Like you've got to be really, really in tune with like being okay with that. You got to be okay with like being alone, and because you kind of always will be, no matter what you're doing. And even in investing, which is like what I'd like to do in the later part of my career, like built, sold, exited certain things, and I've just eventually it's like, what do you do when you're retired? And like investing, wealth management, like that's what I'm gonna do. Being a speculator is the exact same thing. I hear lots of great speculators say like the key to good speculation is being a contrarian, like being okay being alone and like leaning into that. And so this property just came out absolutely awesome. Looks like old Florida out here. The only thing missing is awesome grass, which will come now with the light. But it really needs is like take the 400 yards that we pulled out of this property, chipped. So you have a 1-to-4 ratio. So we'd have 100 yards of chips, not quite enough, but do a foot of chips everywhere around to let it break down, seed it, and then graze it. And it would be like really, truly return back to old world Florida. So, man, bittersweet, but levels as a small business owner, entrepreneur, startup. You're gonna have certain levels, and like this is my mistake with my last tree company is I did not when I got to a certain point, I got to $500,000 in revenue. It was time to remove the original crews. They weren't original, but they were with us when we were a little smaller, before we had CDLs, when we were doing things a little looser. Then we got a little bit tighter, and I did not make moves. And so as the company got bigger, the people didn't grow with it. And I did not get those people off the bus and put new people on the bus. And actually, like, we started seeing signs of that just a few months ago, where I was like, starting to see it. And then things kind of just happened perfectly, where it's like, oh, yep, this will be, like, this will be, so he puts in his like last 3 weeks, he puts in a 3-week notice, and you're like, okay, this actually makes sense. Like, right where we're at this is it. So don't know what the next steps are, but I am excited for it. Catch you guys on the next one.